All right, what's up, y'all? So, I've had the pleasure of doing quite a bit of that as of late. With this behind me. So, let's talk about it. What's up, guys, and welcome to Work Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about towing with a Tesla. It's something I've been asked about a lot, especially since I drive around sometimes with the trailer hitch still on the Tesla. And so a lot of people will see it and say, oh, you tow with this? What's that like? And so I figured, hey, I should make a video about that. So here we go. March of 2021. I decided it was time to get the dream car, or at least the one that I was dreaming about at the moment, and get a Tesla. And it worked out great because interest rates were at all-time lows. My wife had just ended a lease, which I'll talk about in a different video. Leases are never a good option. Don't do it. And I had just finished paying off my car. So I convinced her that between the two of us, the money that we were spending, her with her lease and me with my payment on my car, was enough to cover the payment on a brand new Tesla Model Y, which would ultimately be her car, but I'd borrow it on the weekends for gigs. So we did, and I've put 35,000 miles on it thus far. It's been a great car, and in a different video I will talk about Teslas and musicians and whether or not it's a good combination, but this video we're going to focus on trailers. So towing is an interesting thing with a Tesla. It's not that scary. It's not as scary as you would think it might be, but there's upsides and downsides, and you should know about both. So this video is about that. So the first thing you're going to need when you have your Tesla to tow is to attach a trailer hitch. You can have Tesla do this for you, and in hindsight I probably would, because it would be a cleaner overall connection, but I decided to go to a slightly cheaper route and go through U-Haul's service where they can attach it for you. They suggested I leave the wire harness in the trunk and pull it out when I needed it. And so far that's been fairly brilliant because New England has horrible weather sometimes, and a wiring harness can start to age quite quickly with the roads out here. So I don't really regret that. That being said, it's not the cleanest look to have a wire coming out of your trunk when you're using your trailer. The bumper is already set up with a little plate that you can pull off that shows where the trailer hitch is, which is great. You can just put that back on when you're not using the trailer hitch. And you're pretty much good to go. Then, as far as towing goes, you should think about the size of the trailer. So the size matters because wind resistance with electric cars is everything. You'll lose more range the more drag you have, not necessarily the more weight you have. So for example, with a 4x8 trailer from U-Haul and a loaded Tesla with 5 musicians in it, I was able to get a little over half my range on average driving down to New Jersey. I got just about the same driving out to Detroit, although I sped quite a bit, so I lost some range there. I recently have purchased a new trailer, that side, and I'll be selling it because it's too tall and it has horrible wind drag. I did a trip down to Rhode Island and home and got about 2/5 of my range, even though it was roughly the same size trailer, just taller versus lower profile. So that's something to take into account. Speed also plays a big part in your journey. So if you're going 40 miles per hour and stop and go on a side road, you'll get close to your normal range because there's no wind resistance pulling back the trailer away from you. But if you're on a freeway going more than 55 miles per hour, you'll see a dramatic drop. I tested that theory here on my way back from Detroit, and here's what happened. So in the interest of science, I decided to have an experiment. I'm trying to get home, and I haven't had any range anxiety yet because, for the most part, on the way out to Detroit from Boston, I just took my time and charged all the way up every time. And it took 18 hours or 19 hours, and ended up getting a hotel on the way there and relaxing. But I don't have that luxury on the way home. So, the experiment is this. When you charge up, you get way faster charge for the first half of the battery. The second half slows down. So I charged above half, but I didn't go all the way to where I should. The next charge station is currently 111 miles away, and I have 225 miles. And you might think, hey, that's no problem. You have plenty of miles, but again, because of pulling the car and cutting my miles in half, it's going to be very close. And here's the math on that in case you're wondering. Basically, I was averaging, I think, around 449 watts per mile. Without the trailer, I was averaging around 225-ish or 210. So because I'm doubling the amount of watts used, that's going to cut my range in half. That's kind of how that math works. So, this is my experiment. I've slowed down to 58 from the 70 that I've been driving all morning. And yes, I lose quite a few miles in the 2 hours that I'll be on the road, but I'm going to save those miles in charge time. I think it's kind of a science project, but essentially, if I'm super low, I can charge up that first half really fast and save the time that I would have wasted sitting at the supercharger, because I still had 35 minutes left to wait at the last supercharger to get to full. And instead, I'm going to lose maybe 30 minutes in drive time, maybe a little bit less. I'll keep you posted. I'll check back in. All right, so just so I could get ahead of it, because I was getting exactly half the miles that I was estimated to get, I decided to turn off the AC and drive at 55 miles per hour, which I had heard is a spot-on thing for getting range versus speed. Also, hauling a trailer, it actually says on the side of the trailer, max speed 55 miles per hour, so I'm not breaking any laws. I'm in the slow lane, and the speed limit here is 65, so I'm like a truck that's really annoying in the slow lane, but oh well. So, it's getting warm. It's about 80 degrees outside, and I've been driving with the windows down, although I rolled them up for a second to have this conversation. I've gained a little bit of mileage, but it has been close. Here's what it looks like. Alright, so on this screen, I haven't been using the auto steer that much because I figured maybe that makes it burn more mileage, I'm not sure. But this shows my projected range on the trip to the supercharger from the previous supercharger. It's gone down a bit. The original is what the car should have gotten had I driven with no trailer, and the drop is from the fact that the trailer is, draining the battery. So this other screen here, if I go to consumption, will show that I'm going up a hill right now, but I had been kind of going down a hill. And if I keep driving like this, going up this hill, my consumption will only allow me 85 miles of range. 83, it's still going down. The hill's getting steeper, actually. 81, and I've got 74 miles left to go on this trip. With 164 on the battery, but that's, again, not too big a trailer. I've done pretty good at, making it not exactly half, right? Because if I've got 74 left, then 150 is about what would be me cutting it in half. So I'm getting on top of the projection, but it's a little nerve-wracking because it's so close, and if there's enough hills, that can kill the whole thing. So I'll keep it posted. So I'm not sure if I showed this last time, but this is my projected range, and it had me at 11% last time I was filming, now 13%. So to reward myself for doing some great energy saving, as you can tell, I'm in the 375, 376 range. I
decided to bump my speed up to 60 instead of 55, which is definitely doing a little bit of damage to the mileage, but not enough to cut the half thing. In fact, it's doing cool things over here. We're still projecting pretty well. 13% is totally happy if I can make it with 13%. I might even, as I get closer, push it up towards 70 to speed up those last couple miles. Or maybe reward myself with some AC because it's a little warm. So, everything's good. It looks like I've got 44 miles left on the charge and only 9 miles left to drive. So, even if I was burning 800 and something or 900 watts per mile, I'd be doing fine. So I brought it up to 65 to finish off the journey, get there in a reasonable time in the next 11 minutes, it looks like. And then I will plug in and probably get lunch because it's about lunchtime. So
now I left that morning at 8 a.m. from Detroit, and I arrived back home, I believe, around 3 a.m. So it was quite a drive. But the cool thing about charging is it forces you to take 20 minutes or 30 minutes every 2 to 3 hours when you're towing a trailer, so that you can stretch and walk around and you don't feel stressed at the end of the drive. Whereas I've done so many drives where I've done those kind of miles, and at the end of the drive, my head hurts, my shoulders hurt, I'm cramped up for a week. That wasn't the experience here. In fact, during one of my charges later in the evening, I think it was around 10 o'clock at night, I stopped at a casino to charge, and this happened.
You know, when you stop for a quick second at the local casino, not local, the random casino on the drive back, just to charge your Tesla for a minute, and then you win $130 in like 15 minutes of charging your Tesla. Full Tesla, get to continue driving, extra $130. Can't complain.
So all in all, is it easy to have a Tesla pull a trailer? It is. Teslas have a lot of torque, and you have no problem with a heavy trailer. It can pull. I know it's only rated to 3,500 pounds, but it can easily pull more. It has no problem with the torque end of things. Range is the only difficulty you might find, but honestly, pulling a trailer is fatiguing just because there's extra weight behind you. You're constantly thinking about it. And so taking a break every 2.5 to 3 hours to charge for 20 to 30 minutes on a long road trip is actually quite relaxing. So I actually highly recommend it. It's a heavy vehicle, so you don't ever feel like the trailer has control of you. You shouldn't be pulling a huge trailer anyway, because wind resistance will get you down, and it's only rated for 3,500 pounds. So really, I don't think it's a big issue. I do think in the long term, in order to make it a vehicle for pulling trailers, like if they come out with a truck, they need to add a little bit of range or some kind of efficiency with heavier weight and with wind drag. But I think they probably have taken that into consideration on their future designs. So yeah, if you're in the market for pulling trailers and you're a musician, or even if you're just in the market for pulling trailers, I'd say go for it. Expect that you're going to get half your range, but don't be afraid of it. Range is not really a big creepy thing, and the slower you go, the more range you'll get with your trailer. So if you get scared, just drive really slow. Don't try to get there faster. And that's your Work Wednesday, everybody. It took me about 2 weeks to make this video, so, and an entire road trip. So please, if you could like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you next time.